So I'm back on the air and trying to stay on schedule with another discussion of the upcoming Parsha, the Sidra of the week, which this week will be a combined Parsha, which means we read two Parshiot together. The final two Parshiot of the third book of the Torah, third out of five, called Vayikra, or Leviticus. And they are Behar and Bechukotai. The story is told of a man whose father died, and he was going through his belongings and found an old army uniform. The father had apparently been in the United States Army during World War II. And his passing happened about 50 years after that, in the 90s. And the son was fascinated to find this army uniform. In the pocket of the uniform, what did he find? But a laundry ticket. A ticket from a dry cleaning. Herman's Dry Cleaning on 51st Street and 3rd Avenue, Midtown Manhattan. So he starts thinking, that laundry is still there. It's still called Herman's Dry Cleaning. I wonder what'll happen if I bring this ticket there. I wonder how he'll react. So he goes to Herman's Dry Cleaning, and there's a very old man there. And the young guy introduces himself. He says, "Well, who are you?" He says, "I'm Herman. I'm the original owner of this dry cleaners." And so the son, very excited, he says, "You have to see what I have. I found in my father's World War II Army uniform this dry cleaning ticket." And indeed, Herman gets very excited. He grabs it. He says, "Hold on, I gotta check this out." Goes into the back of the dry cleaners, and the tension is building up. He comes to him and he says to the son, "You're not going to believe this. I found the coat that goes with this ticket." The son says, "You found the coat?" He says, "Yeah, I found the coat." "The coat that my father brought 50 years ago to your dry cleaners?" He says, "Yeah. The coat that your father brought to my dry cleaners 50 years ago." "The coat that goes with this ticket?" "Yeah, the coat that goes with that ticket that he brought 50 years ago." He pauses, and then Herman turns to the son and says to him, "It'll be ready next Thursday." Well, the period of 50 years is at the heart of this week's Sidra. I think a lot of us know the word Jubilee. In Slovak and other European languages, it's pronounced Jubileum. Well, it comes from Hebrew. The Hebrew word is Yovel. And it is introduced in the Parsha of the week. It's the year of freedom. Allow me to explain. Life, materially and spiritually in the Torah, is charted out in a pattern of 7 and 8. 6 and 7 and 8. We have 6 days of the week which are profane, And then we have a seventh day, which is holy. A similar phenomenon we find in this week's Parsha. We have 6 years that we work the earth. This commandment is introduced to the children of Israel. It applies in Israel. It's connected to the sanctity of Israel. And there the primary form of livelihood for everyone was agriculture. And then there's a 7th year, the sabbatical year, the Shemitah, it's called in Hebrew. And that year we let the earth rest. We don't do any work. Shabbat Lashem, it's a Shabbat in the year sense, just like the 7th day is a Shabbat in the weekly sense. The two events that most crucially define the spiritual reality of the Jewish people, our emancipation in the Exodus, and the granting of the law with which Jews sanctify our own lives and sanctify the world, the Torah. These two epic events are separated by a period of 49 days, 7 weeks. This indeed is the period that we are now in. It's called a Sefirat HaOmer. And although the connection is not explicit in the written Torah, we are simply told that after the Pesach, Macharat Pesach, we count 49 days, and day number 50 is the holiday of weeks, Shavuot, which we'll be celebrating on May 20th this year. But the chronology of what happens to the Jews in the desert provides us with the information that that is the same day the Torah was given. So indeed, Shavuot, the holiday of weeks, occurring exactly always 50 days after Pesach, is referred to as the festival of the giving of the Torah, the festival, the time of the giving of our law. So we have our emancipation, we have 7 weeks, and day number 50, we have the event which is the fulfillment of our emancipation. The revelation of God on Mount Sinai is transcendent revelation. And so the Torah says we count 49 days, but it's 7 times 7. So 7 is holiness within the world, but then there is another higher transcendent level, which is above worldly. It represents that which is above nature. That is number 8. It's a common theme in the mystical works, particularly explained by the famous rabbi of Prague, the Maharal. So, for example, we know that the Brit Milah, the covenant of the circumcision, done when the baby is only 8 days old, not connected to his intellectual achievements, not connected to his comprehension, hence representing a bond which is above logic, happens on day number 8. And if the 8th day falls out on Shabbat, which is the 7th day, and we have this question, a circumcision normally involves desecration of the Shabbat. We would not be allowed to do it. But if that day happens to be the 8th day of the life of the child, then indeed we are obligated to make the Brit, because the number 8 transcends and takes precedence over number 7. The menorah in the Holy Temple had 7 branches. It was a beautiful symbol and a beautiful ritual. We are told in the Talmud, indeed, God and the divine presence was not in need of light, but it was a light that was meant to illuminate the whole world. On the backdrop of the events of Hanukkah, where the temple was desecrated, so upon its rededication, we had the miracle of the lights, the lighting and kindling of the menorah, which lasted not 7 but 8 nights, and hence the Chanukiah that we use today is a candle of 8. So again, we find that the supernatural kindling of the lights, that which is above nature, is represented by 8. So 7 and 8 is this ongoing theme. 6 being profane, 7 being holy but within the world, sanctity as it permeates nature, and then 8 is the transcending of nature, the miraculous or the supernatural